Welcome back, children. This is the second video of the chapter Work for Energy, class 11. Today we'll cover some problems on kinetic energy, energy concept. Energy. What is energy? We learned energy in physics as capacity of doing work. If you have energy, you can do work. That's it. Therefore, you find energy by calculating work done, energy as work done. So sometimes, quite oftenly, we use work formula, that is F dot S, to know the energy manifests itself in different forms in nature. Kinetic energy you learned here, and potential energy different forms: gravitational potential energy, spring potential energy, electrostatic potential energy, magnetic potential energy, right? Normally energy, different sorts of forms of energy you have learnt in regular classes, like wind energy, tidal energy, nuclear energy, thermal energy, like that. In here, for our CET NEET multiple choice questions, the energy expressions which are very very commonly used: a kinetic energy expression, that is half m v squared, and potential energy, you learned two types of potential energies mainly here: gravitational potential energy. For gravity, you wrote potential energy U, say UG for gravitational, mgh, when you are very close to the surface of the earth. Otherwise, gravitational potential energy, you wrote, that is minus g m1 m2 me m, where me mass of the earth, m mass of the body, divided by re when you are on the surface of the earth. Gravitational potential energy that we will use in the next chapter, gravitation. Now let's not bother about this now. And the second one, spring potential energy, that is half kx squared. And this is a result of integrating spring force. The first year students still not yet learnt integration, but you just remember this relation. And this is obtained by using the work energy theorem and spring force. What is spring force? That's another relation we use along with a spring force. S, come on, spring force F, that equal to minus k into x, minus k into x. When there is an extension in a spring or a compression in a spring, I explained you about this in detail in oscillatory motion chapter. The spring force always opposite to the displacement, in the sense extension or compression of the spring, where k is a spring constant, that is F divided by x. The magnitude, we write magnitude value, magnitude of force to displacement, like this ratio, force per unit length, and the unit of spring constant is Newton per meter. We use this relation along with this spring force relation. Magnitude form F equal to kx, just magnitude. If we don't consider direction, we use this. We'll be using these to solve problems. And in kinetic energy, if you multiply and divide by mass, different forms, k, that equal to half m v, that is squared, v squared, 2 times v, into mass m divided by mass. If you do this, you can write k m squared v squared upon 2m. What is m squared v squared? M into v is momentum p, mass into velocity, you learnt in laws of motion chapter. So it is p squared, momentum squared, divided by 2 times mass. Now if you cross it, multiply it, you can write p squared, that is 2 times mass into kinetic energy. So if you write p, that is square root of 2mk. We write this way also for solving problems. You can use this, you can use this relation, you can use this relation. However, it is required, you can use. These are three important. In addition to this, you learn work energy theorem. This is very important idea in physics to solve problems. Work energy theorem states work done is always equal to either change in delta, represents change in kinetic energy, or change in potential energy. Means work done manifests itself in nature as change in energy, kinetic energy, potential energy, different forms of energy. Here we talk about kinetic or potential energies. And law of conservation of energy, energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, but be transformed from one form to another. Now, using these ideas, we will see some simple problems. The first one in this direction, that is 12th one, a spring. Two springs of force constants K1 and K2, both are stretched till their elastic energies are equal. Then the ratio of stretching forces, their elastic energies are equal. Here is given that in the problem 12, it is given that the potential energies of the two springs U1, U2 same. What do you write for energy? Energy expression half K1 x1 square. There are two springs. Potential energy spring formula we are using here. This relation, potential energy of spring, this one. That equal to half K2 x2 squared, right? He wants you to find the spring force ratio. And finally, what do you write? K1 divided by K2, spring constant, small k, let's write. Now you bring it to denominator, so it becomes x2 divided by x1 squared. Therefore, what is the ratio of the spring forces, F1 to F2? What did you write? Spring force is Kx. What is spring force? Spring force is K times X. For first spring, having constant K1, extension X1 divided by constant K2, extension X2. Now, in the options, you have the values K1, K2, right? So, how do you continue? In our calculation here, K1 by K2, x2 by x1 whole square. So, what is x2 by x1? x2 by x1 is equal to root of K1 by K2. Root of K1 by K2. So, what is x1 by x2 then? x1 by x2 is root of K2 by K1. Root of K2 by K1. So, you write f1 by f2, that equal to K1 by K2 times, what is x1 by x2? Root of K2 by K1. Right? That's the idea. Okay. We will take it inside the root. If I take inside the root, it becomes K1 square, K2 divided by K2 squared K1. One term cancels here. So you are left with inside root K1 by K2. So F1 is to F2 if I write, it becomes root of K1 is to root K2. It's very simple calculation. You practice this, dear students. So our option C. We'll move on. Move on with another one. See, two bodies of different masses have equal momenta. Momenta same. Two bodies have different masses. So options, very simple. We have same kinetic energy. The heavier has higher kinetic energy. The lighter has higher kinetic energy, and data is insufficient. Data sufficient, you can try this. In this problem 13, it's very easy. I showed you how to write kinetic energy in terms of momentum, P square divided by 2m. He says P same for both. In our discussion, P is same here in this problem. Same for both the bodies having masses m1 and m2. This implies K inversely proportional to m. And that implies you can write for mass m1, K1 proportional to 1 by m1 and K2 proportional to 1 by m2, 1 over m2. You take the ratio K1 by K2, that equal to is inverse relation, that's why m2 upon m1. How do you write? What is this? Inverse relation. Inverse relation means mass inversely proportional to kinetic energy. So, less is the mass, more will be kinetic energy. So, your option must be lighter body has higher kinetic energy. Option C. That's very easy calculation. Now, we'll see one more. Two bodies, one having mass twice that of the other, are raised to the same height from the ground and let fall. When the heavy body strikes the ground, the option is kinetic energy is half that of the kinetic energy of the other. Its kinetic energy is same as that of the other. And the next option, its kinetic energy is twice as much as the other. Its kinetic energy is 4 times as much as the other. We'll see now. So the problem 14 students, two bodies having a mass twice that of the other. Let us suppose mass of one body, say m1, 2 times that of the other. Now kinetic energy depends on, this is the data given. Kinetic energy depends on half mv square in terms of mass and velocity directly proportional to mass 1 times, velocity 2 times. In terms of momentum, it's p square by 2m, related inversely to mass, directly to square of momentum. Here mass and velocity, that's why. What is the situation? He is taking two bodies, one twice the other, one this size, the other this size, to certain height. The height is same for both. Height is same. Been dropped from here. Dropped in the sense what? Initial velocity is 0. See, when they hit the ground, assume some velocity v. Say for mass m1 v1, for mass m2 velocity v2 while hitting the ground. Now if you identify whether mass velocity v1 more than v2 or less than v2 or equal, we can easily identify which one is more kinetic energy wise. We'll do that. See how to find final velocity when you know initial velocity and acceleration. What is acceleration? Minus g. And what is direction of motion? Minus negative down. So use this relation v square that equal to u square plus 2as displacement. So the value of v square, u square is 0, that's why 2g into h, all down, that's why all negative, minus and cancels. What is the value of v? That is root of 2gh. Is h same for both? Yes. H is same for both. That's why v proportional to root h, as 2g is a constant. v1 that equal to v2 as h same. This is what you need to remember. Therefore, now kinetic energy depends only on mass, which means k1 proportional to m1, k2 proportional to m2. You know, what is m1? It is 2 times m2 and k2 proportional to m2. Look here, the proportionality constant same for both the expressions, but the term 2 is here. Since 2 is there, kinetic energy of heavier mass, which has mass 2 times, is 2 times obviously. Therefore, you conclude saying kinetic energy of first body is 2 times that of second body. So you go with the option here C, that is kinetic energy is twice as much as that of the other. It's very simple. We'll move on to the question number 15. When a bullet is fired from rifle, the rifle recoils. Kinetic energy of the rifle as compared to that of bullet. No, normally bullet heavier, gun heavier, bullet lighter. That's why mass of gun or bullet, rifle, we write mg, and mass of bullet is mb. Kinetic energy depends on mass directly, right? Therefore, since the value, you remove this, therefore, since the value of mass of gun is more than value of mass of bullet, right? The kinetic energy of recoil, when mass more for a given velocity, you can write momentum wise, here velocity is also different, mg greater than mb, and momentum of gun is equal to momentum of bullet, that is P of G that equal to P of B. How do you know this? Law of conservation of momentum. For all activities, momentum is conserved. Therefore, use kinetic energy relation in terms of momentum. P square by 2m. Right? Since momentum is same, you write this way, K proportional to m, 1 by m, 1 upon m. That's why inverse relation, since mg greater than mb, kinetic energy of gun is less than that of kinetic energy of bullet. It's quite obvious, natural to think, it's a common sense. Bullet moves very fast, so kinetic energy very high compared to that of gun, but momentum remains the same. Gun recoils with less velocity, common sense. We have to analyze this way, but it's just bit common sense idea, you can easily understand. It's very simple. 15th, right? Yes, another one. A particle of mass m has half the kinetic energy of the another particle of mass m by 2. Then the ratio of speeds of the lighter to the heavier particle is speed of lighter to heavier. Very simple. What he says in this given problem, kinetic energy of one body is half that of the other one. First body mass is m, second body mass is m2. Next slide, kinetic energy relation, half m v1 squared, that equal to half times half is given in the problem, half m, instead of m you write m by 2, v2 squared. So you cancel this half and this mass m also. You can write v1 squared, 2 2s are 4, v2 squared by 4. Take root. If you take root, v1 that equal to v2 by 2. So what is v1 by v2? v1 by v2 is 1 by 2. So what is v2 by v1? v2 by v1 is 2 by 1. He wants you to find the ratio of lighter to heavier. See the question, ratio of speeds of lighter to the heavier particle, lighter to the heavier, that is 2 is to 1, 2 is to 1, 2 is to 1. That's the idea. So your option B, lighter to heavier, lighter to heavier. Lighter is second one, that is v2 is to v1, v2 to v1. As the answer is 2 is to 1. 2 is to 1 is actually 2 is to 1. That's the only option here given. We'll move on with the second one, the 17th. That is, a body of mass m is dropped from a certain height h above the ground. The velocity v of the body, when it has lost half of its initial potential energy. Let us suppose the situation is like this. Ground, body is dropped from a certain height. What is height of the body? Height of the body is h. Dropped implies what is initial velocity? 0. So it falls to a certain height. Initial potential energy, let us call ui. Final potential energy at a certain height, that height is some h dash, that is uf final. Now let us write, we all know what is potential energy formula. Potential energy ui initial when height is h, mgh. When it has fallen through certain height, final energy is m into g into h dash. You don't know what is that h dash. But given in the problem, potential energy after it has fallen certain height is half of the initial value. That is very that is given here. What is potential energy expression? mg h dash final, half times mg h. So mg cancels. So you have h dash is half of h. So potential energy halved implies height also halved. You can know just in the relation itself. U half means H half. Direct relation. That's fine. Now to find, you have to find what? You have to find velocity. Find a velocity at that level. Use this relation. Which relation? V square that equal to U square plus 2as. Here on the discussion, what is U? 0, dropped. What is A? G minus G actually. What is H? Minus H dash. What is that? H by 2. You have proved H dash H by 2. So V square 0 plus 2G H by 2 cancels. You solve for V, that is root of GH. So you have found the value of V, that is GH, option A. Now we'll see 18. Of the following cases, potential energy decreases. Which of the following cases? Which gives options give some actions. Which one has decrease in potential energy in the process? Let's read the option. When a spring is compressed, when spring is stretched, when a body moved against gravitational pull, when an air bubble rises in water, when air bubble rises in water. Here, when you the spring is at its normal length, no change in the length, potential energy is 0. When the spring is compressed, to compress what do? You apply a force. By applying a force, you do work. That work is stored as energy. So U, that is potential energy, increases. The work done is stored as potential energy implies as compression increases, the potential energy increases. The same is the story with extension. To extend the spring, which means to increase the length, also you have to do work. That work is done. Work done is stored as energy. That is potential energy. In this case also, potential energy increases. It's a conceptual idea, basic idea. And third one, when the body is moved up against gravity, says the ground, you have learned the fundamental idea. As you move up, potential energy increases because potential energy mgh. As h increases, potential energy also increases. Now look at the last one. When air bubble rises in water, look here. Water level is ground level. This is water, H2O level in a lake, pond. Okay, this is ground level. Bubble is rising up, right? Rising up. We consider ground level as the zero potential energy level. Below ground, negative level. Above ground, positive level, right? As you move. That's why as it rises up, potential energy is moving up. That's why it is increasing from negative to 0. It is increasing from negative level to 0. So the value increases, not decreases. So your option is D. It's a very simple idea. He says decreases. Potential energy decreases in this level. That's the idea. We have to remember that is conceptual idea. Option D for this question. Here you maybe observe this in a bit strange way. Actually, you think this like this. Bringing water bubble to this level is like compressing this spring. When you compress spring, you do work. That work is stored as energy. Same way, if there is a water bubble, to bring it here, you have to do work. So when it is here at this level, potential energy more. When it rises up, potential energy decreases. In that process, from moving to surface from a certain level, depth, potential energy decreases here. From here to upwards increases. That's the way we analyze. You remember it. Now we'll move on with the 19th. The potential energy of a system increases if work is done. Potential energy of a system increases if work is done. Potential energy increases in which of the following cases? If work is done by system against conservative force, by system against non-conservative force, upon system by conservative force, upon the system by non-conservative forces. So it's a conceptual idea. You need to remember potential energy of system increases if work is done by the system against conservative forces. You have learnt about conservative forces, where work done independent of path followed. If work is done by the system against conservative, that work is recoverable. For example, body moves up. It does work against gravitational force, and that is recoverable. Body comes back, the energy converted into kinetic energy. As it moves up, work done increases the potential energy. That's why the option A is very simple. Next, the potential energy of a long spring when stretched by 2 centimeters is U. If the spring is stretched by 8 centimeters, the potential energy of the spring stored in the spring system is, potential energy formula of a spring kx square, we have learnt it. This implies U proportional to x square for the same spring, which means k is a constant. What he says, U1 proportional to 2 squared and U2 proportional to, he says 8 times 8 centimeters. Okay, right. 8 squared, 64. That's why you just compare these two. That is U2 by U1. You are finding new potential energy. That's why U2 by U1. That is 8 squared by 2 squared. 8 squared, 64. When 2 squared, 4. So 16 times. The potential energy later value, U2 is, okay, right. Potential energy U2 is 16 times U1. So your option must be option C, 16U, initial value. Now I'll read the next one. The two bodies of different masses dropped from heights S1 and S2 above the ground. Different masses, remember. Dropped from heights H1, H2. Heights also different. On reaching the ground, they have equal momenta. Momenta same. Ratio of their kinetic energies on reaching the ground will be almost similar calculation we will see now. The calculation part is almost repeat to the previous problems. Here in the previous problem also, we learned what is the final velocity when a ball is dropped from a certain height, two different levels. Say mass m1 drop from a level h1, you think like this. Another mass m2 drop from level h2. I have showed bit different height. I don't know whether h1 more, h2 more. I thought mass of height of h1, mass m1, h1 more, h2 less. We'll see. What is initial velocity is 0 for both because it is dropped from the height. What's final velocity while hitting the ground? Final velocity of first one v1, of second one v2. What is expression v square that equal to u square plus 2as? So v square when initial velocity is 0, 2gh and displacement h. That's why v root of 2gh. Therefore, for mass m1, v1 root 2gh1 and mass m2, that is v2 root of 2gh2. He says, given in the problem, that momentum of first mass is equal to momentum of second mass. What's momentum? Mass times velocity. Mass times velocity. For velocity, what do you write? m1 root 2gh1 and that equal to m2 root 2gh2. Now 2g cancels. So you can write m1. You bring that m2, their kinetic energy ratio, m1 to m2 ratio you have to find. That's why, look here. Ratio of their kinetic energies. There means masses m1, m2. First m1, then m2. So I find ratio m1 by m2. Bring it to the denominator of m1. So you have on the right side h2 upon h1. It's very simple. You take it 1. Now, what is kinetic energy ratio? He wants you to find kinetic energy of 1 to that of kinetic energy 2. What's kinetic energy? Half m1 v1 square. Since you know the relation for velocity in terms of mass, that is half m2 v2 squared. Half cancels. That's why k1 by k2 is, for m1 by m2, what do you write? root of h2 by h1, and that into v1 by v2 ratio. What is v1 by v2? v1 by v2 is root, v1 is root, not root, just write this. What is v1? v1 here, v1. v1 is root, v1 squared, v1 is root gh1. v1 squared is 2gh1 divided by 2gh2. Why? Because we have proved there up in the calculation v1 is root 2gh1, v2 2gh2. So square it. Square ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ we have 2gh1, 2g cancels. So k1 by k2, when you take h1 inside the root, it becomes h2 by h1 times h1 by h2 squared. So 1 h1, 1 h2, you cancel out. You have h1, one term on the numerator, and h2 on the denominator. So the ratio root h1 is to h2. So option B will go with the option B. k1 is to k2 when you compare. You have root of h1 is to root h2. So this is how we can solve. It's almost easy. And 22nd we solved in the initial stages itself. Now see the next one. A ball is allowed to fall down with the initial speed v from a height h meter. Yes, okay children, in this problem, ball is allowed to fall down with velocity v from height h 10 meters. It loses 50% of the kinetic energy after striking the floor. It reaches the same height after collision. What is the value of v? You think like this. In this problem, there is the ground. You are dropping the ball from a certain height. Let us suppose this height h, from this level. You are dropping the ball. When it is dropped, not from initial velocity 0, but with velocity v. That is the thing that you have to notice. It is dropped with a velocity v, that he says, given in the problem, from a height. While hitting the ground, it possesses some velocity v dash. So, for falling, law of conservation of energy. For falling, what is law of conservation of energy? Law of conservation of energy says the potential energy, kinetic energy while hitting the ground is equal to sum of the energies at the highest point. What is sum of the energy? I think energy, E for energy at highest point is equal to energy E at ground. What's energy at highest point? It's sum of two energies, kinetic and potential, because body was moving. What's kinetic energy? Half mv square, because when it is dropped from the level, initial velocity is not 0. It was moving with velocity v, that's why half mv square, plus it is at a height h, so mgh. And that equal to the velocity while hitting the ground v dash, that's why you write half m v dash squared, So we can remove m, right? If you remove m, you can write half v dash v squared plus gh, that equal to half v dash squared. We'll use it in the next case, right? You may take it equation 1. This is first case. Second case, what it says, when it bounces up, when it starts moving up, the velocity changes. Why? Because it loses 50% of the energy. So I consider second case, falling, this rising. In the rising case, as it reaches the same level, why, how? That is the data given. So after losing 50% of kinetic energy while bouncing up from the ground, reaches the same level. Implies what? When it comes back to the level, final velocity is 0. Otherwise would be moving higher up. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ನಿಂತು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ means Final velocity is 0. So again you apply law of conservation of energy. Law of conservation of energy. What he says, I think I read this, energy at ground now is equal to energy at the highest point. That's what you have to remember. What is energy at the ground? Energy at the ground is 50% of half m v dash square. What is v dash square? Kinetic energy while hitting the ground. 50% of that is equal to potential energy at the highest point. What is potential energy? mgh only. That's all. So 50%, how do you write? 50 by 100 of into half m v dash square, that equal to mgh. I can remove m here. So can write 50 1 by 2. So if I write v dash separately, v dash square, that equal to 2 2s are 4, right? If I send that 4 to the right side, 4 gh. I will call it equation 2. Now I can use the equation 2 value of v dash square in equation 1. Use this way. Use equation 2 in 1. If you use equation 2 in 1, in equation 2 you have v dash value, v dash square 4gh. So in equation 1 on left side you have half v square plus gh, that equal to half v dash square. For v dash square at 4gh. That's it. 4gh. Now you solve for v dash, right? V dash 4g v square. Half v square, that equal to half of 4gh minus gh. That side. So half of means 2 times. That's why half of v square, that equal to 2gh minus gh. 2gh minus gh, that is equal to gh. So the value of v dash, that is 2 times gh, right? Yes, that's it. Now if you take root, it becomes root gh 2 times g. Normally we take 10, but if I take 9.8, 9.8 2s are 19.6 into 10, 196, 196 root 114 exactly. Even if you take 200, 10 times 20, 200, because if you take g10, 10 into 2, 20, 22, the 10s are 200. Root 200 slightly more than root 196. The option around 14 you will search again. 14, around 14, 14 only you have. So you can mark and continue. But if you take 9.8 exactly 196, so the option, no doubt, C, it is C. So finally, how do you memorize these steps? Or you remember how to start with, how to continue? Actually, he says initial velocity not 0, it's not just dropped, it's thrown down with a velocity v and height h. So it has got at the highest point kinetic energy plus potential energy. But for a freely falling body, we use highest point only potential energy. But here, both kinetic energy and potential energy. Sum of the potential and kinetic at the highest point is only kinetic energy at the lowest point while hitting the ground. While hitting the ground, velocity v dash, that's why half m v dash square is mgh plus half m v square at the highest point. So you can write velocity equation like this, cancelling out mass. What he says next, while bouncing up, loses 50% of the energy. So it has got only 50% of initial energy. With that energy, it rises up to the same level. So highest point energy, that is only potential energy mgh, is equal to potential energy at the lowest point, at the ground. While rising up at the ground, it possesses only 50% of the energy before collision. That's what he says. He says in the problem. That's why 50% of energy before collision is mgh. So if you solve v dash value, you can write. You put the v dash value in equation 1 and solve as root of 2gh. Put the values. Answer done. Right? We will continue. One more, children. a slightly different one, same formula. What average force is necessary to stop bullet of mass 20 gram, speed 250 meter per second, as it penetrates wood to a distance of 12 centimeter? This is what he says in the problem. There is a wooden block, a bullet enters, it enters from here, right? Enters from here, and it penetrates through a distance of, he says, 20 centimeters. What is the distance through which the bullet moves? 20 centimeters. Distance to which, distance covered by it, 20 centimeters, right? And, sorry, 12 centimeters, not 20, it is 12, correct. 12 centimeters, okay. And what is mass of the bullet? Mass of the bullet is given, that is m 20 gram, 20 gram, that is 20 10 power minus 3 kg, kilograms. And speed, initial speed, what is that? 250 meter per second. When it comes here, initial velocity, u actually, u, that is 250. Final velocity is 0. Final velocity 0. You can write this itself as u actually, u 250 meter per second. This is what it says. Actually, we did this problem in motion in a straight line. Initial velocity u, final velocity 0, finding acceleration. From acceleration, actually we did this method. What is that? The force F that equal to ma. But what is A? A is V square minus U square divided by 2S. Yes, correct? Recall it. How did we get it? V square that equal to U square plus 2AS. You put the value of A here, solve, you get. This is one method. Method 1. Method 1. Sometimes another method also useful. That method in work power energy theorem. Work energy theorem. Work energy theorem. What is work energy theorem? Work done that equal to change in energy. Kinetic. What is change in energy? Change in energy, right? Change in energy is, in our discussion, final kinetic energy minus initial kinetic energy. So final kinetic energy is 0 because it comes to rest. So change in energy is negative of initial kinetic energy. Let's find the magnitude of work. That's why for change in energy, I write initial kinetic energy. Work W that equal to initial kinetic energy. What's work? Force into displacement. F dot S actually. F dot S, Fs cos theta. Here force, and you can write, even if you write minus sign, you can write here F dot S that equal to minus K. What is F into S? F dot S is F into S into cos theta. You just think of the situation. When the body bullet moves this way, force is opposite. That is called resisting force. Then only bullet is stopped. What is theta here? 180 degree. What is cos 180? Minus 1. So it is minus Fs. Actually, you think it like this. Even if you don't use minus sign, directly use force Fs and kinetic energy minus K. That is enough. Okay, that's all. I explained you how you have to approach the problem. Change in energy is work. Change in energy, final energy minus initial energy. Final energy is 0, kinetic energy, because body comes to rest. So minus of kinetic energy initial, minus never written. In work power energy theorem, if the bullet moves to the right, force acts left because it is resisting force. That's why angle 180, minus sign. You are getting minus on either side. So Fs equal to K. So F you want, what is K? Half m v square divided by S, displacement. Now it's easy to solve. Half of, what's m? M is 20 gram 10 power minus 3 kg. Velocity 250 squared 2 times divided by distance covered 12 centimeters 10 power minus 2 meters. Now you can easily solve this. Very easy, this one. The simplification part. Okay, this one can cancel out 110, 10 power minus 3, and denominator, numerator 25 is a 625, 25 is 625, I can remove to 1 0, 1 0, 1 0, 3 zeros gone, right? 0, 0, 0, 3 zeros gone. So 25, 25 is 625 divided by 12, 10 raised to the power plus 2. This goes to numerator. So I can continue. 12, 5 is 60, 12 5 is 60, 225, 12 2s are 24, 12 2s are 24 point. So 52 point something, 10 raised to power plus 2. I don't continue further. That's enough for my calculation. I shift decimal point by one place. So it becomes 5.2, 10 raised to power 3, force Newton, around 5, 10 power 3. Exactly you have 5.2, that is the option. Next, potential energy of 1 kg particle free to move along x-axis is given by the equation x square by 4 minus x square by 2. An equation this is called potential energy function, variation of potential energy with distance. The total mechanical energy of the particle is 2 joule. Then the maximum speed in meter per second is, okay, the potential energy of 1 kg of particle free to move along x-axis is ux, x square by 4 minus x square by 2, right? This is potential energy. Total mechanical energy is 2 joule, 2 joule. Maximum speed is, here in our discussions, the energy is conserved. Energy is conserved. Always total energy according to our discussion of pendulum or spring or a body moving in a gravitational field, total mechanical energy is equal to maximum potential energy, and that equal to maximum kinetic energy. This is the idea, law of conservation of energy. He says total energy is 2 joule. And let's not bother about potential energy. We want only maximum velocity. That's why maximum kinetic energy expression, let's write half m v maximum square for maximum speed, maximum kinetic energy. That's it. You want anyway to find maximum velocity, you solve for it, cross multiply. 2 2s are 4 divided by mass. So 4 divided by what is mass? Mass of the body is, say somewhere here, 1 kg here. Mass of the body is 1 kg. So 1. What is the value of V maximum? Root 4, that is equal to 2 in meter per second. So the answer is 2 meter per second. Option C, right? Moving on. A bullet is fired at a block kept on a table. There is a table over which you have kept a block. You fire a bullet at the block. It gets embedded. The bullet gets embedded in the block. When it enters, gets embedded, is inside. The table is frictionless. But when the bullet enters, it feels frictional force inside the block. There is no friction between table and the block, but there is friction between bullet and the block. That's why energy is not conserved. Only momentum is conserved. In all actions you have learned in physics, momentum always conserved. That's why you go with the option only kinetic energy is conserved, momentum is conserved. Momentum conserved is the option. Next, a shell initially at rest explodes into two pieces of equal masses. The two pieces will, see, before collision, momentum, that equal to momentum after collision. What is momentum before collision? It is 0. Why? They were at rest. After collision, they move with the speeds m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So if you transfer this side, m1 v1, that equal to m2 v2. See, if m1 equal to m2 equal pieces, then you cancel it out. It becomes v1 equal to v2, but minus, negative. They are in the opposite direction. They are equal but opposite. So your option must be continue to be at rest, move with the same speed in the same direction, move with the same speed in the opposite direction, move with the same speed but in the opposite direction. You may write arrow over it, arrow, right? Because they are vector quantities, masses same, So speed same, but in the opposite direction. That's all. It's very simple calculation. Now, ball is moving with the velocity 2 meter per second, collides head on with another stationary ball of double its mass with the coefficient of restitution. Actually, this idea is not covered in COVID syllabus. You'll see it later on. You will leave it for a while. Now we'll move on with the next one. That is, an explosion blows a rock into three parts. Two parts get off at right angles to each other. Right? The two are 1 kg first part, 1 kg. These two are 1 kg first part, 1 kg, moving with velocity 12 meter per second, and 2 kg second part moving with velocity 8 meter per second. The third part flies off with velocity 4 meter per second. Its mass would be, you just think of the situation, there is a rock, right? This rock breaks before explosion. This is before explosion. What is total mass? 2 kg plus 1 kg plus 4 kg. What? 4 kg? Yes. Third piece flies off. Third piece, we don't know the mass of that third piece. Here, mass M1 1 kg, mass M2 2 kg, and you don't know the mass of the piece M3. M1 plus M2 plus M3 all put together one stone before explosion. This is after explosion. After explosion, it explodes. After explosion, mass remains the same. What he says, one piece, say there is an explosion, bang. One piece moves this way, say mass M1, 1 kg, with a velocity V1. The other mass moves this way, that is M2, 2 kg, with velocity V2. He gives velocities also. See, the two are 1 kg first part, moving with velocity 12 meter per second. 2 kg second part, moving with velocity 8 meter per second. This is 12 and this is 8 meter per second, 12 meter per second. What about the third one? The angle between the two is 90 degree. According to the law of conservation of momentum, the third part must move in a direction opposite to the resultant of the first two. Let us suppose momentum of first mass M1, momentum of M1, I write P1, that is M1 V1. What is M1 V1? M1 12 into mass 1, 12 kg meter per second. And what is momentum of mass M2? That you write P2. What is that? M2 V2. What is M2? 2. V2, 8. 16. 8 to the 16 kg meter per second. 8 to the 16. Right. You show momentum of the two diagram. One is moving this way with a momentum P1. The other is moving exactly perpendicular with a momentum P2. How do you find resultant? Draw parallel sides. One to the P2, the other to the P1. This is the diagonal. And to that, the third force is opposite. Third momentum, that is P3. So according to law of conservation of momentum, resultant of P1 and P2 is equal and opposite to third one, according to law of conservation of momentum. So by law of conservation of momentum, we have to analyze this way, my dear students. You practice these steps. Keep in mind, try to apply this for other problems. This is the way you have to prepare for CET NEET. Requires lot of time, involvement and patience. We have to do it to succeed in the exam. So you do this way. P3 that equal to result PR. They are equal and opposite. Magnitude of P3 that equal to magnitude of PR. But what is magnitude of PR? Resultant of 2 when the angle is 90, root of P1 square plus P2 square. Which formula? Root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. What is theta? 90. Cos 90 is 0. That's why you are writing this. So you write first of all P3. Then we will continue further. That is 12 square plus 16 square. That's it. So the square 144, 250 is root of 400, that is 20. But what is momentum of part 3? Momentum is mass into velocity of the third piece m3v3, that is 20. And he says the third piece moves with a velocity, see here, he says third piece moves with velocity 4 meter per second. So mass m3 into 4, that's equal to 20, 4 5s are, so m3 that equal to 5 kg, option A. You need to practice these steps, students. What he says, let us just memorize the steps. It is a method where we apply law of conservation of momentum. Before collision, 1 piece. After collision, 3 pieces. First one 1 kg, second one 2 kg. They move at an angle 90 degree. That is interesting, important here. First piece 12 meter per second, second piece 8. So you can find moment, mass into velocity, 12 into 1 kg, 12 kg meter per second momentum of first piece. Of the second piece, m2 v2, 8 to the 16. They are moving at an angle 90 degree. You find the resultant of them. That must be equal to momentum of the third piece according to law of conservation of momentum. The momentum of third piece must be equal to sum of the momentum of the first 2 pieces. That is the law of conservation. That's why if you consider P2 and P3 together, then momentum of a resultant of P2, P3 must be equal and opposite to P1. Or if you take P1 and P3, resultant of P1, P3 is equal to opposite to P2. That is the meaning of law of conservation momentum. Now we are using P1, P2 together. So their resultant found using root of P square plus Q square 2Pu cos theta. Al theta 90, that's why it is P1 square plus P2 square. Value must be equal to P3 and opposite. Value wise barkonidira. What is momentum of third piece m3v3? That is equal to solve model 20. So mass is 5 kg. It's very simple, easy. One more, children. A bomb of mass 30 kg at rest explodes into 2 pieces of masses 18 kg, 12 kg. Velocity 18 kg moves, the velocity of 18 kg, mass is 6 meter per second. 18 kg moves with 6 meter per second. Then the kinetic energy of the other mass is, kinetic energy you have to find. For kinetic energy you have to find first of all velocity. The same story that we learnt in the previous case. This is before explosion. Before explosion, short form. And after explosion, say one moves in a direction to the right, the other may be left with the same momentum according to law of conservation of momentum. Okay, the other piece like this. This is say mass 18 m1 moving with velocity v1 18 6 meter per second, 6 meter per second. Then the second mass m2, that is 12 kg, moves with velocity v2. We don't know it. This is before collision, after collision. Sorry, this is after collision. After collision. What is law of conservation of momentum? Law of conservation momentum. Momentum before collision 0. They are not moving. That is equal to momentum after collision. Momentum of first one m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So direction wise, you transfer this to left side. So m2 v2 minus, actually you write minus sign on the right side. Now you want v2. What is v2? m1 by m2 into v1. What is m1? 18 by m2 12 into 6. 6 2s are. So the value of v2 2 by 18 is 9 meter per second. You want kinetic energy. Kinetic energy of second piece. He wants you to find kinetic energy of the other mass. Kinetic energy. You have to find kinetic energy. Kinetic energy K half m v2 square, m2 v2. So it is half m2 18 v2 squared 9 into 9. So it is 9, right? 9 into 9 into 9. It's actually second mass 9 squared, right? 12. Second mass is 12 kg actually, not 18. Okay. I write here 12 kg into 9 into 9. So it is 6, right? 6, that's why it is 6 into 81. 6 into 81 is 486 joule. That's all. So the option is this B. So like this you can calculate. You will solve some problems on power also. Some more are there for you as assignment in this material. Try them out. If you have any doubts, you can call me or send me your doubts. Thank you, students.